According to sociologist William Graham Sumner, deviance is a violation of established contextual, cultural, or social norms, whether folkways, mores, or codified law. Although the word deviance has a negative connotation in everyday language, sociologists recognize that deviance is not necessarily bad. In fact, from a structural functionalist perspective, one of the positive contributions of deviance is that it fosters social change. Deviance is a violation of norms. Whether or not something is deviant depends on contextual definitions, the situation, and people's response to the behavior. Society seeks to limit deviance through the use of sanctions that help maintain a system of social control. Norms are understood in terms of two distinguishable characteristics that often combine in how group and individual members behave and perceive behavior according to the norm. One is the injunctive norms, which refers to the outness or rightness of behavior, highlighting the moral sentiment group members have about what should and should not happen. These norms reflect group assessment of approved and disapproved conduct. They are group-level phenomena that guide how people behave or believe they should behave in groups. On the other hand, we have the descriptive norms, which refers to the behavior that allows members to conform to other members of the group, as well as providing expectations concerning how other members will behave. Descriptive norms are common behaviors or how most people in a group act or are anticipated to act in specific situations. It also refers to group perceptions about behavior, irrespective of morality or compatibility with the social or organizational values or ethics. Deviance can be seen as a failure of social solidarity which disrupts harmonious relationships between social roles that unite and integrate the individuals in the community they belong to. Deviance depends on rules and values existing within the group, on its cohesion, degree of tolerance, and social control. The best example from this perspective is represented by the military group. Discipline and order are key characteristics of any military. Such characteristics suggest that the military as a social institution would employ sufficient controls and sanctions to inhibit deviant behaviors. Integration of young persons in the military environment means adapting to a specific regime of work and life by developing skills, abilities, and requirements in accordance with the new lifestyle, and developing attitudes and beliefs specific to the new social role. Where appropriate integration is not performed, there is a risk of deviations from prescribed behavior, the emergence of maladaptive reactions from recruits who are in such a situation. Say for example, due to a prolonged mass exercises, there are trainees who are malingering since they are not being seen by their military training instructors, which is considered deviant since it is shabbiness or bias on the part of their other classmates who are performing the exercises properly. Or say trainees who are being stripped of their civilian lifestyles and are undergoing extreme exercises, considering their limited freedom of doing what they want to do, tends to be deviant once they no longer want to conform to the society they have entered. This leads to the commission of lying, stealing, or in a worst case scenario, attempts to leave the training ground by going over the guard walls. Well, of course, on the field of training, hazing are sometimes being encountered. Some measures being resorted to by the others are being labeled as such. Deviant behavior cannot be answered in a straightforward manner. Whether an act is labeled deviant or not depends on many factors, including location, audience, and the individual committing the act. In the field of the military, drinking liquor during special occasion with the approval of the base commander is considered acceptable. Drinking liquor in any government properties such as barracks or drinking liquor during liquor ban is considered unruly and may cause the personnel to be held liable and consequently be given with sanctions such as demotion, hard labor, or discharge from service depending on the regulation of the board. Individuals even in a stable personal environment, for example, with a well-paid and secure job, are potentially willing to put everything at risk and choose to engage in criminal behavior. Such behavior might stem from a biased self-perception. This theory seems to hold particularly for employees in higher positions with ample responsibilities when they see the chance to, for example, to secure other people's job by acting corruptly. Such biased self-perception might be the result of both hypocrisy and a different understanding of what is right and wrong. As research indicates, such an understanding of, for example, what considered a bribe or a gift is context dependent, varying substantially across countries. Corruption is behavior which deviates from the formal duties of public role because of private regarding, such as the personal, close family, or private clique, pecuniary or status gains, or violate rules against exercise of certain types of private regarding influence. One drawback of this definition is the inherent ambiguity because all illegal acts are not necessarily corrupt and all corrupt are not necessarily illegal. In certain societies, acts or particular actions may already be considered a form of corrupt misconduct, whereas in other societies, these acts may well be part of their formal duties and just politics. See, for example, personnel who utilizes their office printers and ink for the assignments of their kids or their usage of the internet or Wi-Fi for non-work related activities is simply corruption. Whether an act is deviant or not depends on society's response to that act. When a person violates a social norm, what happens? Personnel who reported late at an event for reason that it is rather better to take some slip off rather than being early may be given a reply by endorsement. It serves as a warning or explanation report, though it is a black and white. For all we know, military are known to be disciplined and are early birds. Frequent absenteeism during command activities and tardiness during mass formations may be given delinquency report. Personnel who is always moving in ranks during parades may be bowled out or given warnings. All societies practice social control, the regulation and enforcement of norms. The underlying goal of social control is to maintain social order, an arrangement of practices and behaviors on which society's members base their daily lives. Think of a social order as an employee handbook and social control as a manager. When a worker violates a workplace guideline, the manager steps in to enforce the rules. When an employee is doing an exceptionally good job at following the rules, the manager may praise or promote the employee. The means of enforcing rules are known as sanctions. Sanctions can be positive as well as negative. Positive sanctions are rewards given for conforming to norms. A promotion at work is a positive sanction for working hard, whereas negative sanctions are punishments for violating norms. Sociologists also classify sanctions as formal or informal. Informal sanctions emerge in face-to-face social interactions. For example, improper usage of uniform may draw disapproving looks for even verbal reprimands, whereas behavior that is seen as positive, such as complying with the rules and regulations of the base in a continuous manner, may receive positive informal reactions, such as a smile. Formal sanctions, on the other hand, are ways to officially recognize and enforce norm violations. If one of the military personnel is on absence without official leave, he may be demoted or discharged. Personnel who are involved on hazing may be also demoted or discharged with hard labor or reassignment. On the positive side, a soldier who saves a life may receive an official commendation. All of the mentioned deviant behaviors committed in the workplace all boil down to frustration tolerance. It happens because things doesn't happen your way, or what you have expected is different from your reality, leading to misbehavior. Kai Erikson, an American sociologist, quoted that the deviant and the conformist are creatures of the same culture, inventions of the same imagination. We are the ones that set or created our own ambitions and prospects, but we are also the ones who disrupt it. We have set too much goals that are unrealistic for some. Circumstances such as society where means of survival is too slight, or an individual living in a society where it is impossible to cope up with the way the majority lives would be impossible for anyone to conform with the society. So that's all for my report on the deviant behaviors in the workplace, some of which are applicable to all. And I am Mabel T. Pukasan. Thank you.